Hello, thanks for tuning in. This is going to be about building a workbench. I want to have a sink here. And where this ladder is roughly where the wall is going to be. There's some pipe coming out of the ground. That's for the toilet. And I've made some marks in the ground. They're pretty vague. But that's about where the wall is going to be. It'll come out about 6-7 feet. And so I wanted between that wall and this sink, which is going to be outside the toilet, I wanted to have room to work. And then there's also that hole in the wall is where I turn the water off into the building. Water comes up out of the ground there, or the pressure, the town water. So in order to have all this there, and there's also a drain behind this piece of wood, there's a drain for the sink. The sink had to go here. I put these shelves up. I didn't do a video on it, but they're hanging from the ceiling. And the reason I did this is because I have this ladder and I can get easy access to stuff that I don't get to very often. If I need things that are in common use, I'll probably have shelves below the bench or somewhere else along the wall. But for long-term storage, it goes up there. It's off the floor, so it's already floor space that the bench is going to use. I don't waste the upper wall space for this. Anyways, I bought these bench legs just on Marketplace, and yeah, they were cheap. They're just metal legs, pretty sturdy. But you can see the wood used to have a hardwood table bench top on it, but you know they sat outside for a long time, and the bench top is gone. So I'm going to make one today. There are lots of nice videos on building bench tops. Generally, they're 4x8 or 3x6 or they're pretty small, and they're probably for one purpose. They're going to be for woodworking primarily, other benches made for steel or something else. Well, I wanted one bench, wood top. I didn't want to use 2x4s. I felt that was a little bit overkill. But I want one continuous bench. I don't want any lines in the middle of it. So this is roughly, you know, it's over 19 feet long. And it's also about 36 inches wide. Well, that's I can make it out of plywood, I guess. Plywood wouldn't be all that good. I need something stronger than plywood. But then I also would like to put heavy, you know, I don't want it really heavy and really thick because that's just, like I said, it was overkill. What I've decided to do is make a laminated tool bench. This is all 2x6. There's 8-foot lengths and 12-foot lengths. And if you add them up, well, that comes to about 20. There'll be some offcut. And remember, I'm making this as wide as I can make it. That's where that bench, the end of it's got to be in order to allow room for this gantry crane to be stored here, between here and the end wall. And also on the other end for the sink. So, what do? Well, this 2x6, I cut this down the middle. That's a pretty good depth. I'll stand these on end. And if I put them on end, that's 1.5 inches wide times whatever to get to 36 inches. And that'll be pretty robust, I think. What does it work out to be? This is actually, you know, 2x6 is never 2x6, it's 5.5. So it's going to be 2 3/4 inches roughly high. That's a good compromise between 2x4 and 1x2. Also, there are several ways to hold a bench together. I thought about using all-thread rod, and every foot or so I'd have an all-thread rod. Well, 20 feet long, 36 inches of rod. Money is always a concern. So rather than use all-thread, which would have a fairly good cost, and this, you know, everything's expensive now. But what I do have are screws. And if you look here, these are some multi-purpose screws, 2.5 inches long. And I think I can use those to screw the wood together at wherever it needs it, rather than just arbitrarily every foot. You know, wooden benches are held together by glue. The screws are there, maybe make it a little bit stronger, but it's there while the glue is drying, from my understanding. And so I'll use the screws just to pull the wood together. And then when the glue goes off, well, I have a good robust top, and the screws will stay in it. So we'll see how we go there. I also wanted to make a note that the timber I'm using I went to Home Depot. I didn't order anything special. The wood, again, is pretty expensive. I think it was $9.40 something for the 2x6 by 8 feet, and it's 14 something for the 2x6 by 12. Again, 2x6 isn't 2x6. It's 1.5 by 5.5. This is the normal stuff you can buy. It's got knots. It's got, I tried to get ones that are as straight as I could, picking from a pile, but that's about as good as I can get. If you've got a pile of money, you can probably get wood that's dimensionally accurate and straight, perfect. I don't have that money, and it's really not necessary. It'd be nice to have a pretty bench. My objective here is to have a functional bench that should be pretty flat, pretty robust, and affordable. So I'll tally up all the costs later. But this should be relatively affordable bench without paying a bunch of money for it. It's going to be noisy because I'm going to run a fan. The only air conditioning I have in this building is a fan. I need to keep the wind going. There's no wind outside, even though I've got the doors open, there's no breeze. It's already 92 degrees. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's pretty unpleasant to work, so I'm going to get the fan go. You won't hear anything. I won't talk. Hope the music isn't too annoying. And by the way, please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. I'll just put a snap line on here just to see how I'm going for straightness. Now I'm having to address a twist from this end to the other end. I had to address a little bit of a twist, which, you know, you can do that just by moving these a little bit. I've got enough thickness here, I can plane it off flat, and it'll be flat across the top. The other thing I really should have paid more attention to, these first two bits, these first two runners, they were not straight. And the first three made it worse. Anyways, it's got a bow. From this corner to that corner, it's bowed out this way. Let me show you how bad that is. Steadily moving further away, that red line, till you get to about here, which is about the middle. And that's a good I'm guessing that is a little over ½ inch, about a ½ inch. Not that bad, I suppose. But if I were to take a planer along this edge and plane all that out, well, that looks pretty obvious that I screwed up, and well, I don't want to look like I screwed up. What I can do, and what I intend to do here, is I'll take a little bit, starting in the middle. I'll take out, you know, 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch, something. Because right now I've only got 13 inches. This is going to go to roughly 36, a little less than 36 inches wide. So I can take a little bit out of each runner, starting in the middle, and I have to gradually move outward. And really you won't be able to tell that each of these is a little bit thinner for the next 8 or so. And then if I pay more attention, I should be able to keep it nice and straight across the front edge. The back edge I'm not too worried about. It'll be hidden behind you know, some other backboards and such. So you won't see that one. But the front edge I'd like to have straight. So that's my mission today. What I'm going to use is a Metabo planer. I haven't had a lot of luck with these before, but the one I had before was pretty cheap. Real bargain basement thing. Metabo should be a better name. And the problem is these blades. You got to make sure that these blades right there are parallel with the shoe, the foot. And I think this one is pretty darn good. So if you go one direction, you might slope. So you go in the other direction and you slope the other way. So that's my intention anyway, and then do some fine adjustment later. Well, this black line here will be my baseline from now on. And what I intend to do then is all along here I'll be taking off about 1/8 of an inch until I get rid of this next. This is 3/8 of an inch. I measured 3/8 of an inch from this line to you can just see a trace of the one I made there. I took off 1/8 of an inch there, and that planer actually works really well. So now, if you look down from the end, you can kind of see, I can anyways, hopefully the camera picks it up, but this end drops down at this end, it drops down at the other end, but right in the middle it's pretty flat. So when I continue this process, put on another plank and then take off another 1/8 of an inch. It should be within 3 3 more goes, it should be pretty flat across the front edge. Well, I've got the front of this pretty well straight now. And not only straight, but it's also relatively square. It's not perfect. What I've been doing is taking this plane and going along the edge. I've been tilting it outward a little bit, or tilting it in, whatever I needed to do in order to get this edge square with the top, more or less, all along the front. It's not perfect, but you know, it doesn't have to be. I'm not that much of a stickler for perfection. But this thing has really worked a treat. You got to be careful to make sure you run the screws in so that you don't nip up the blade. And I'm nearly done. This right now is, my objective is 34 or 35 inches. Right now we're at 30 and a half. So I need to come out another 2 or 3. Probably 3, because they can be a little bit further out. And my objective is, you know, just to cover the top of those legs over there. But it's going to be 34 to 35 inches here. And 20 feet long. So I've got probably 3 more layers to go. That's all the timber. I've got some more on the wall if I need it. And I think I should be finished. Well, this has been going on for a week. I haven't filmed hardly any of it because it's just all repetitious. But I've got at least today to finish it out here, and then starts the work of planing it flat. And also I've got to get the bottom so that where it goes onto those surfaces there, it needs to be flat and level on the bottom as well. Now this thing is just about to the point I can't pick it up now. So I have to use a crane or a jack or something. And to flip it over, well, that's going to be, I'm going to need help. But yeah, it's coming together good. So I'm laminating up this table, and I've gotten that wide. Well, I have a lot of clamps over there, but only six? Yeah, only 6 that are this long. I have some that are really, really long, but it's too hard to handle. So what I need to do is get a couple more longer clamps, because it's got 20 feet of table here. And I don't want to keep moving the clamps as I screw them together. I can move the clamps, but it's just a lot of work. What I do have are a lot of these shorter clamps. And we've got threads on both ends. These are just 3/4 inch pipe. And I have more, but I can only find 3 of these collars. But all I'm going to do is make myself a longer clamp, screw these together. Now I get those good and tight. Then I have myself a nice long clamp. I'm getting ready to put on the final piece. I'm just going to make sure that this leading edge is square and straight before the final piece goes on. I'm also marking where the screws are so that I don't hit them, and I can try to put them nicely spaced across the very leading edge. So it looks all right. So here's my string line. You can see where I've made the circles, and every circle I've made a pencil mark so that that's where the string is. Then I'll use my straight edge to go along here, and it's still quite a bit out. I don't know, it kept going bad. I had this straight, but it kept going bad. I don't know how or why or what the mechanism is, but anyways, it's about 1/4 of an inch right in the middle. And then it goes down to nothing, right down at the edges. So I'll get that taken care of with my planer. And I'll also make sure that this edge here is square with the top edge, or as good as I can be. It's not that critical. It's going to be a workbench, but again, just to keep it looking nice. Well, today's objective is to clear off all these clamps, and I'm going to start planing I'm going to start by squaring off this end and that end, and then start planing it flat. Now when I put this together, now I've got screws everywhere. I tried to put the screws away from the edge. I hope I was successful.